All right, everybody. It is 6 o'clock on the dot. Scott, kind of as promised, I just want to make sure everybody can hear me. You don't have to have your cameras on whatsoever, but just want to make sure you all can hear me before I keep going. I see Scott's typing. You can hear. Awesome. Awesome. Wonderful. I will just assume that everybody else on the call can hear me as well. So just a quick introduction. My name is Bobby Cortez. I'm the admissions and recruitment coordinator for the Kent School of Social Work and Family Science, specifically our BSW program, so our Bachelor's of Social Work program that we have here at U of L. I am an alumni of the program. I've spent many years working in youth development social work, working in DCBS, which is our Department of Community Wellbeing, so working with CPS and things of that nature, working with child welfare system, before returning to U of L to kind of share my experience and promote the field of social work. So just a quick rundown, we do have quite a few people on here today, so we will, if you would please just allow me time to go through the presentation. It will take roughly about 30 minutes or so. And then we'll have time at the end for questions. So if you would like to just kind of write those down or throw them in the chat, we can go through those all at the end of the presentation. To let you know, my dogs are in the other room, so they may bark. I try to give them some treats and some toys to keep them busy, but dogs will be dogs. So I just want to give a quick, just kind of a heads up about that. So I do apologize in advance if that does happen. But I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys and get started with the presentation. Okay, cool. So again, we are here for the BSW program informational session. Hope you are in the right spot. Again, I'm Bobby Cortez, the admissions and recruitment coordinator for the BSW program. So we'd like to start off at letting people know really kind of what social work is. Chances are, if you're here, you may have an idea, but we just like to start with that definition. So social work is the professional practice that promotes and restores the relationships between people's them and their environment in order to improve the quality of life for individuals, families, communities, groups, and organizations. And in addition to that, social workers are really working to create systems within society or to reform different systems within society that to make things more favorable to that goal. We do understand that many of the systems that make up the world that we live in are not necessarily set up as equitably as maybe we would like them to be. So we can definitely do the things to improve the quality of life for individuals and families and communities and organizations. But really, one of the forms of sort of that macro social work is really, working to reform and make things a little bit more equitable across the spectrum with regards to the systems that really make up the world that we live in. So we like to ask people these three questions. If you answer yes to these questions, we definitely think you're in the right spot and you should consider a career in social work. So one, are you good at maneuvering through complex situations? There will always be any number of things going on. The life of a social worker is not boring, to say the least. Do you have a passion for helping vulnerable and marginalized individuals, families, and communities? And let's just face it, so people are not seeking out services of social workers, are being referred to social workers if everything is just fine and dandy, so to say. There's usually something that's going on, some underlying issues, some assistance, some advocacy, things that they need from social workers. That third question, do you have a passion for advocacy and promoting social justice? And those are key pillars for those that are interested in pursuing a career in social work, among many others, but really advocacy and social justice are some of the underlining pillars that really work for all of social work as a field. So you answered yes to all of those questions. We definitely think that you are in the right spot. Next on, I want you all to just kind of have a look at this. I'm not going to go over every single word. verbatim or every profession or everything that you can do with a social work degree. But we want to just give everybody an idea of some things that you can do with a social work degree. It is a very general, broad degree with opportunities to be more specialized in certain areas. So if you look here, you'd see works in military, you'll see works in nonprofits, you'll see work in mental health fields, you'll see work in criminal justice fields, medical fields, even politics, right? So really, you think about any field or career that you could go in, chances are there is a link or a connection somewhere in some way, in some shape or form, where a social worker has sort of been in that role as well. So now this is our BSW admissions team. Well, not the full admissions team, but our full BSW team as well. So I'll introduce you guys to everyone here really quickly. So on the far right, this is Gary Uracy, one of our academic advisors. That is me to the left of Gary. Next to me is Anna O'Connell, our manager of student success, our associate director, Sarah Springer, and our program director, Dr. Armand Perry. Um, Dr. Armand Perry also teaches our BSW 201, which is our Intro to Social Work course at U of L. Fun fact, I was in Dr. Perry's BSW 201 course many, many years ago. Still here, so it's a pleasure to be able to work for him and come back and work for this organization that has given so much to me and to others like me in our community and our state as well. So that is our team. We are small but mighty, and we get things done at the School of Social Work. So on to some of our program highlights. In total, our program from start to finish is 120 credit hours. Throughout that program, we ask that you do maintain a minimum of a 2.5 GPA to remain in good standing. In addition, we offer full-time, part-time routes, online, on campus, or hybrids of those two. We really have catered our program and our development of our program for people who are in different situations. You know, some people may just be full-time students, some people may have families, some people may have part-time jobs, full-time jobs, taking care of a loved one, taking care of kids, any number of things. We've sort of thought about it. So we really have designed our program to be flexible for whatever circumstance you are in. In addition, our program is split up into two different divisions. We have our lower division and our upper division, each roughly 60 credit hours. And I'll go ahead and speak to the lower division right now. So our lower division is essentially the first 2 years of a traditional college experience. So typically your first 60 hours. And those, the lower division is really split up into two different parts. One is going to be the Common Core, which is essentially your first 30 to 31 hours. This is the general education requirements that everybody takes sort of across the board. In addition to these general requirements, we do have some prerequisites that I'll speak on in a second. But with this, I won't name all of the classes because I know very well that you all can read and see this. But something to point out and to pay attention to are these arts and humanities and these natural science courses. These two need to be in different disciplines for the arts and humanities and for the natural sciences. So for example, natural science, you may take a chemistry course or maybe an environmental science course. Those are two different, natural science courses. So that would suffice. Now, say you took a natural science, you took an environmental science and a biology. All of these natural science courses, what would happen is we would just you get credit for those two courses that are in different categories, and then the others would just flow into the elective state. So you still get credit for those, and then these requirements are checked off as well. So we just want to make sure students know that those need to be in two different disciplines. Now, to the other half of that lower division, that next roughly 29 hours is going to be made up of general electives, about 13 hours, and then some of these big five sort of prerequisites that we ask students to take. These are going to be Introduction to Social Work, Human Anatomy and Biology, Stats, an Intro to Psych, and an Intro to Sociology course. These, and then addition, those electives that I spoke to, would combine to about 29 hours, really completing the first 60 credit hours of your program. Electives, I want to say as well, we have a number of social work electives that students can voluntarily take that really dive into more specialization. So it could be school social work, it could be child welfare, it could be human sexuality. There's a lot of different electives that students take. Also, you will be required to take more social work electives as you progress through the program. So this is also an opportunity to kind of be a little bit experimental, kind of take a class of maybe that just sounds interesting, take an art class, take a theater class, take mythology, anything that really kind of garners your interest. Specifically stating from experience, if you're interested in a course or a subject matter, more than likely you're going to do well. You're going to show up for class, you're going to do the work, you're going to do the readings. So I just encourage students really kind of get a little exploratory. It's really a time about learning about yourself, and then taking those passions that you have and then turning them into something, a little bit more down the road. So for our upper division, this is what we would say this is going to be the second 2 years of the BSW program. And typically you will hear this called and referred to as the professional phase of our program, the upper division. So this is one that's more rigidly structured, and the majority of all of your courses you take for those last 2 years will be more often than not direct social work courses. And those courses will be made up of general practice courses, courses teaching on the human behavior and social environments, as well as different theories and methods that go along with that. Social welfare policy courses, social work research, diversity, oppression, and social justice, as well as practicum seminar and lab, which I will speak on here shortly. And as I mentioned beforehand, a number of social work electives that students are required and encouraged to take. So moving on, so one of those courses that I had mentioned was practicum education and practicum seminar. So seminar is a class that goes concurrently with your practicum experience. And practicum is simply a social work term and a fancier way for us to explain an internship. So essentially it's for you to take all of the theories, the models, the practice skills, the methods that you've learned and read about and been exposed to in courses, to really apply those to the real world. Essentially, we can teach you and show you how to ride a bike, but until you get on that bike and actually ride it yourself, fall down a few times, dust yourself off, get back up. That's really the best way for social work to be taught and those skills to be learned and refined. So something to know and for students to plan about, this is completed in the entirety of your senior year. Students are required to work 16 hours per week, Monday through Friday. And we say 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. because those are typical business hours. So keep in mind, students will be working at nonprofits, different organizations, different companies that have practicum agreements and do social work field in our community or in the community that you are working in. So most of the time, these organizations are running from about 8 to 5, 9 to 5, typical business hours. So we want to give sort of just those heads up for students that might need to make arrangements for any caregiving roles that they experience or work obligations that they have going on too. This is something that your practicum team will reach out to you your junior year to sort of do applications and identify different agencies that you're going to work with. So just keep in mind that you will be prepared for this. You will have ample time to reach out to agencies, to meet with them, to interview with them, as well as to really discuss a schedule that's going to work both for the agency and for you as a student. And as I am not going to restart my computer right now. I'm sorry, something just popped up on my screen. For you to be successful for then that practicum experience. And again, that's going to be 1 year, your senior year. So for the lower division application, and to let people know, there's technically not a lower division application. This is mainly students when they're accepted to U of L, they would declare social work as their intended major. In addition to that, then there is a separate application for the upper division, which I'll talk to in a moment. But for high school students really to be declared and entered into the college, of the Kent School of Social Work and Family Science, they do need to meet these requirements. So graduate from an accredited high school if you have a GED or equivalent by petition. Also, you would need an ACT score not less than 20 or an SAT not less than 1030. Students without ACT, SAT scores, this is going to be a grade point average of 2.5 or higher. You will see that very consistently throughout U of L and the Kent School of Social Work, that 2.5 GPA. Additionally, the academic community will do a comprehensive review of your transcript, including grades and courses, just to let see if you are prepped for college courses. Additionally, if you are a transfer student with 24 hours or more, you must have a grade point average of 2.5 or higher to be admitted into good standing into that lower division. And something important to note as well is the admission into the lower division does not guarantee admission into the upper division. As I had mentioned, there is a separate application process for that, and I will touch on that right now. So I will start. Sometimes students are a little bit hesitant. There's another application they have to fill out and get letters of recommendation and all of these things. It's not that deep. I'll let people know that just from the get-go. You are not going to be getting letters of recommendation. We've sort of done away with those. It is a straightforward application that really is going to consist of your demographics, your educational history, and volunteer work history. And the main component of that is going to be a statement of purpose that students write that is 1,000 to 1,200 words in length, answering one of two questions. Those questions are going to really speak to social work values and some of the values that you have in working with clients in the future. I won't spill the beans on the questions. I'll let you guys get those once we get there. But in addition to that, the two requirements for students to be able to apply to the upper division, and just to let you know, the application is always available the semester before that next semester starts. So for right now, we're in the spring semester. The application for the fall semester start is open currently. Same thing for those in the fall will be open for the spring start. But the two things that students must have to be able to be eligible to apply and be accepted is a cumulative GPA of 2.5 or higher and the completion of at least 45 credit hours. So that means you're applying, you should have 45 credit hours before you start that actual upper division semester. Another thing to note as well is if you're attending in another institution, you must be accepted to U of L prior before applying to the social work program for the upper division. The reason for this is all of our communication with students and applicants goes through U of L email. It is safe and secure, and really we use that specifically to make sure that everybody's information is kept safe, confidential, away from any sort of breaches that could happen with a Gmail or a Yahoo or any other form of email and correspondence going back and forth that way. So I will also say when you are applying, you will need all of your updated transcripts. So sometimes students will apply to the program, will get their transcripts, and maybe a class they took 4 years ago doesn't have a grade listed. So we need that grade to be able to give an updated GPA and also to be able to give you credit for that course if you pass that course. So just a heads up for when that time comes. So also within the BSW program, we do have one specialization track of alcohol and drug counseling. So for this, students must have a cumulative GPA of 2.5. Like I said, you'll see that consistently throughout this this presentation. But they must, in their application for upper division, use this as their interest in the alcohol and drug counseling track as the central topic of your application. Additionally, throughout your upper division, students will be required to take a certain amount of electives, and these electives being right here: substance use and substance use disorders, special issues and alcohol and drug counseling, motivation and change, and mental health. So those are going to be some of the tracks, and that's going to be the specific elective courses that those students who are enrolled in that track would be required to take. So, in addition to that, say you're not really interested in going into the alcohol and drug counseling track, but you are interested in going into the child welfare system. This is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity in partnership with the cabinet called the CW Prep program. We partner with the cabinet, with Kent School, and other universities across the state. But this is a program that simply gives you a $1,300 stipend per semester. You get your 4 semesters paid fully, so that's the entirety of your upper division. As well, you get job placement at with the cabinet after graduation, and you get a paid practicum, which you are required to do with the state if you are a participant in this program. So, stipend each semester, tuition paid for. That senior year, you get your practicum placement with the cabinet, and that is paid. I will say that you will not find a practicum placement that is paid other than this. Highly, highly unlikely. Um, the catch, as most things do, the catch is since the Child Welfare Prep Program has agreed to pay for your education for 2 years, you will then contractually be obligated to work for the cabinet for 2 years following graduation of your BSW program. So essentially, it's a give and kind of take. However, I would say for students that already are interested in this program or interested in this field more specifically, why not take this opportunity to make some money, to save some money, get school paid for, get guaranteed job placement after you're graduated, and really kind of just get your foot in the door into that organization. Allows you to really just kind of win on multiple different playing fields. So the coordinator for that program, again, is called the CW Prep program, is one of our faculty on site at the University of Louisville with the Kent School, and that is Emily Watts. She teaches a lot of our child abuse courses and courses in association with child welfare. So there is Emily's email, her phone number. In addition, if you wanted to do some research on your own, the childwelfareprep.com, that will give you a little bit more information than this brief sort of anecdote that I've told you just now. So, Advanced Standing MSSW program. This, in my opinion, is one of the sort of biggest pluses of this program. So, you get your BSW, you can then apply for the Advanced Standing Master's program. Traditional master's programs, I will say, are typically 2 to 3 years. However, if you have a BSW, and only if you have a BSW, not if you have a degree in nursing or criminal justice or psychology or sociology, only with a Bachelor of Social Work degree can you qualify potentially for the Advanced Standing Master's program, which really cuts that traditional program in half from 60 credit hours to 30 credit hours, which is half the time and half the money. So that's a really incredible opportunity to kind of fast track that education and save some money at the same time. So admission requirements for this is a preferred 3.0 cumulative GPA, and a preferred 3.25 GPA in your social work foundation courses. These are going to be the courses that you are taking in your upper division. And then once you're in the BSW program, we will do a lot more on this road to the MSSW program. So if you didn't think that was fast-tracked enough, we do have a new program that just started this year. Essentially, this is for high-achieving students that will be kind of picked out if you have a 3.75 social work GPA after your first semester, and then a cumulative 3.5, including all of your coursework across all institutions. This is a program you can apply for. You would apply earlier before your senior year, but essentially what this allows you to do is take up to 9 credit hours that will apply both to your BSW degree and your MSSW degree. So essentially, you get to take master's level courses during the senior year of your BSW year, up to 9 credits. And you will also get to take those classes at undergraduate prices, which is a little bit cheaper than our graduate courses. So Definitely that 4+1 MSSW program and the soaring scholars definitely gives a lot of avenues for students to kind of fast track um, their degree path here at U of L within the Kent School of Social Work. Additionally, just want to throw this out there as well. We do have a social work living learning community for those that choose to live on campus. Essentially, what this is an organization where students who are enrolled as social work majors and want to live on campus will be housed together. And really, it's designed to, as you guessed it, and as in the title, to gain a sense of community, really to connect and to grow with each other as you kind of move through and progress through the BSW program. We do a lot of different outings, different workshops, different guest speakers that will come out and do things specifically for students enrolled in the LLC. So I just wanted to mention that to people who might be interested in living on campus and interested in social work. So, what can you do now? Establish good relationships with your professors. As I told you all, Dr. Perry was my 201 BSW professor many, many years ago. I never would have dreamed that maybe one day I'd be working for him. So that definitely did come in handy when I interviewed. I'm not going to lie. So really make sure that you establish good relationships. You never know when you're going to need a letter of recommendation for them, might be able to get a favor from a professor or anything like that. Not saying you have to be, the teacher's pet because nobody really likes that, but make sure they know your name. Make sure you're asking questions. Something I abide by is say hello every day when I go in and say goodbye every day when I leave. Little things that really add up and really make you more memorable than some of your other classmates. You've seen it multiple times throughout the presentation, but yes, 2.5, you want to keep that at least a minimum GPA to remain in good standing. And then apply through U of L at the Office of Undergrad Admissions. And then once you're admitted, we'll do next onboarding steps. We kind of get notified that you've been admitted, things like that. And then we will work and reach out to you to discuss your next steps, advising appointments, and then how you can be successful at U of L. So I went a little bit over my time, y'all. I did say about 30 minutes. I went over by about 9. But I don't think that's too bad. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave this up before we open it up for questions, just in case maybe you forgot a question or something hits you later on tonight or tomorrow. You can feel free to leave me a voicemail if I'm not answering my phone call. That's my office number. Or if you would like to just email me at bobby.cortez@louisville.edu, I will get back to you as soon as I can. So I'm going to leave it up for maybe 5 more seconds, and then I'm going to stop sharing my screen and kind of see what kind of questions you all might have. Up. And then if you would like to go ahead and just unmute yourself if you have any questions. If you don't feel like kind of speaking to the group, you can feel free to write it in the chat. Or if you have got everything done, then you can feel free to leave the meeting whenever you are good. But I will stop talking and allow you all to ask me some questions. No questions yet. All right, we got one. Oh, what's a thank you? You are very welcome. You are so very welcome. Um, and to let everybody know, if you maybe wanted to see this again, we do save these recordings and past recordings on U of L's website that you can kind of see those if you missed something. Or of course, if you just want to shoot me an email, give me a phone call. If you want to chat, want to set up more of like a one-on-one sort of meeting to discuss your case personally, I'm always open to that. Just reach out to me and we can discuss a time that works for both of our schedules. I am more than willing to do that. Thank you. Well, Jamie, if you do think of anything, just holler at me, okay? Again, I'm gonna go ahead and throw, and I'll put my form there. I'm gonna go ahead and throw my email in there in case anybody just wants to copy and paste that really quick. And then my office number is right there. Um, I'm not sure where everybody's calling in from, but it feels incredible outside here in Louisville. And I'm hoping to maybe sit outside with my dogs here shortly. Also, if anybody's watching the Olympics, the USA men's team just beat Sweden in overtime. Just a brief little update from the world of Bobby. The Olympics are pretty fun, pretty cool, pretty big deal for me. So I've been really enjoying watching as much as I could. So I will leave you all with that. And I see Scott's actually typing too, but if you are finished and have anything else, I just encourage you go out, enjoy your evening, enjoy your dinner. And I will reach out to everybody later. You are very, very welcome. I hope everybody has a good day. Scott, I'm going to hang out here until I see that you finished typing, so I don't want to miss a question you might have. No problem at all. Doggone crazy. I hear you. I hear you. Mine, luckily, you didn't even get to hear it. These two ones are going well. So, what are our official next steps towards admission? Morgan, I see yours as well. I look forward to your email. Just let me know, and we will figure out a time that works. Have a good night. Um, so next steps toward admission. Admission, you're gonna first and foremost, you're gonna want to apply to University of Louisville through the Office of Admissions. And that's going to be kind of like applying to any other institution. So you're going to need to fill out that application. You're going to need transcripts to be sent to U of L so that they can be evaluated if you have already had courses at any other institution. And it's usually pretty straightforward with that application process. But if there is any issues with that, or you're stumped, or you need help or a question with anything, again, please reach out, let me know. I'm happy to help. And I'm not one to um, feel embarrassed about knowing the answer to a question. I'm totally fine telling you I don't know. However, I will do everything I can to find the person who does know the answer to that. Grateful for you too, Scott. Grateful for you. Again, you need anything, you just let me know. All right, brother? You are very welcome. You are very, very welcome. Well, everybody, I wish you all a great evening. Enjoy this weather outside. I heard it might snow next week, so just keep my fingers crossed that it doesn't. Good night. Have a good evening, and everybody be safe this weekend. Bye bye.